Good afternoon. I went to breakfast one time and I sat in the back. I had to get some work done. So I sat at the back of the restaurant by myself, all my papers out, and the server seated a family right next to me in a big open room. And I just couldn't help but notice it was a family of 5, mom, dad, high schooler, middle schooler, and about a 6, 7-year-old. What I did notice about them was that as soon as they sat down in their chairs, 5 devices came out, and this family did not talk to each other at all from the start. They ordered to the server, that's the only talking they did, and then they paid their bill and left. Save one time. See, the little boy was on his iPad, and he was swinging his legs, and he rested his leg on the father's shoe. The only time the father spoke to anybody in his family, he said, "Get your foot off my shoe. Keep your legs over there," which the kid did very dutifully. And I looked at this, and I tell this story. You know the story. You've seen the same story. And so we see this issue with screen time, and we see what it is doing to families and to society. So today we look at living deliberately in the digital nowhere. Living deliberately in the digital nowhere. Whenever we talk about screen time, it is a hydra with 100 heads. We could go a lot of different places. Usually it quickly goes to teenagers and their TikToks. We're not going to talk about teenagers today. You're off the hook. Do whatever you want. I don't care. We can also talk about the content we actually consume. We're not going to talk about what we look at. But we could. We could talk about the violence that we see, the pornography that we're obsessed with. We could talk about the political siloing that results from what we read, only one-sided. We could talk about the self-esteem issues that we have as a society because we keep comparing ourselves to those beautifully manicured people we look at. But we're not talking about content. We're talking about time, the time we spend on it. And what are we trading away with that time? And that's what we're looking at today. Now, this is for us adults, all of us, because if we're honest with ourselves, we can admit in 2007, when the iPhone came out, that something changed. You are now changed. That you changed the way that you have conversations. Your concentration is changed. Your focus is changed. Your friendships change. Your workplaces are different. And your parenting has changed, all because of how we spend our time on this phone. We end up going somewhere because we can never be bored. We can never be bored anymore, and as soon as we are, we rush right to something to distract us with our phone. At what expense? One of my favorite modern writers, Matt Haig, he put words to exactly what I've been noticing in his novel, How to Stop Time. Haig tells us that places don't matter to people anymore. Places aren't even the point. People are only ever half present where they are these days. They always have at least one foot in the great digital nowhere. They always have at least one foot. Does this describe some of the people you know? Maybe some of the people even in your house, is that when that digital device comes out, they are no longer present because places don't matter. They now have one foot in this place that Haig calls the great digital nowhere. I'm a high school teacher, and I do a highly unscientific survey in my AP English class when we get to our unit on technology. Here's what I say. I ask kids at the end of the unit, how many of you think that you have a problem with too much screen time? And these 16, 17-year-olds, about less than half of the class will raise their hand. And then I ask, how many of you have a friend that perhaps has a problem with screen time? A little over half raise their hand. And then I ask, how many of you have a parent or a trusted adult who you think has a problem with screen time? Every single hand in that room goes up. Every single hand. You see, the great digital nowhere is not the teenagers. It's us that we ought to reckon with. There is something going on with us. And we know that because of this great digital nowhere, we are not present anymore. As soon as that device is in our hands, we go somewhere else. We are not present with the people we love. We are not present with our coworkers. We are not present in conversations with friends. We're not present with our spouses. We're not present with our children. And somehow we're okay with this. See, we end up living our life as a 21st century citizen in the great digital nowhere, and we don't seem to mind that. Now, the great digital nowhere ends up having a couple of big ramifications. One of them is that we lack memories. Because see, as soon as we go somewhere else with our phone, we end up somewhere else. We can't focus on anything. We can't even focus on what we're looking at on the phone, let alone what's going on in the real world. I mean, I can give you this picture, just this idea of you eating a meal. The last time you went on a date with your phone, just you and the phone and a meal, you don't even remember what you ate. And then you looked at, you're at the bottom of the plate. You don't remember the taste. You don't remember the situation where you are. You remember nothing. All of the taste, all of the joy, all of the pleasure of that moment is gone. And if that's true for a hamburger, how much more is it true for our children and the people we love, that we are no longer here and we're missing out on the joy that real human-to-human experience offers us. So not only do we lack memories, but we also lack relationships. You've been out to coffee, I'm sure, and you sit across a friend and you're talking in this conversation about something either serious or silly, and the friend's phone calls out for him, pleads for him. And in the middle of your conversation, he picks it up and you can see him disappear, drift away. I kind of have a nice little fun thing to do. Whenever I'm doing that, in the middle of a conversation, I just stop talking. He is already so far gone, he doesn't even know I stopped talking. And then, then the excuses come, oh, well, this is you. Well, we are no longer together. We are watching people disappear. And we may say, of course, the pushback is, it's only a minute. I'm just looking at something real quick. And my friend's texting me. Well, we'd have to say you're escaping, but what are you escaping from? And who are you escaping from? If you don't buy my theory, if you want to test it, after this event, go to the food court today and just watch. Just watch families interact. They are all in the digital nowhere, somewhere else, even though they're sitting right there together. Right there together. What's the trade-off? What are they giving away in order to all sit together somewhere else digitally? That's what we would have to ask ourselves. Here's what they are giving away. They're giving away their most important commodity, the most valuable thing that families have, and that is time together. They're giving away, trading away time together for a few clicks and scrolls. That seems really sad and really a missed opportunity. Now, before you think I'm up here pontificating about my anti-technology, I was just like that father in the restaurant. See, my oldest son was about a year or two old at this time, and my wife had gone on some errands, and at that time I was writing for some online reviews for books, and my favorite topic is on technology and how it separates us from real life. So I was finishing up this review. Hudson was at my feet, just sitting there playing, and I had to hurry up and get this typed. And Hudson was starting to look discontent, so I put a few more toys down there. Hold on, Hudson, hold on. Typing away. Then he wants me, pulling on my pant leg. He wants me. He wants his father. He wants his father to look at him, interact with him. I looked down at him and I was like, Hudson, just give me a minute. I'm trying to finish this review on how technology separates us from real life. See, we are all in danger of slipping away to this great digital nowhere if we don't let it. But it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be. See, we human beings, we long for relationships and community and joy. None of those things are found in the great digital nowhere. None of those things. Rather, we're dealing with mediocrity at best. But there is hope that we get to fight the fog for some of this. And this comes from another writer, not a modern writer, but one that you've read in school. Henry David Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau in Concord, Mass. Left society to live in Walden Pond for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. And he says this: I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what they had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover I had not lived. Living deliberately. I went to the woods. I left society to live deliberately. See, this is not just something for young, idealistic, hipster college students to really embrace. Some of us old people like this stuff too. I want to live deliberately. I don't want to fritter my life away scrolling and clicking. I want to, as Thoreau says, suck the marrow out of life while I'm still alive. You can't suck the marrow out of life with a phone in your hand. And see, what Thoreau gives us this clarion call for is that he wants us to step aside from society. Now, even if you hate the bugs and the heat and the dirt, there's still something appealing about moving away. You know you're on your phone too much. Your family is not together because of your phone use. And you like this idea, living deliberately. How do I do it? Well, Henry David Thoreau doesn't say literally pitch a tent in the forest. But let's step aside from our society, our hyper-connected, tech-obsessed, social media saturated, hyper-sexualized, consumeristic society. Let's step away from that. Maybe not for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days like Thoreau did, but let's step aside to just have a breather so that we can see what real life is like. It doesn't have to be in the literal woods, but there is something powerful about the literal woods, about the natural world, isn't there? We go there and we see in the natural world, we feel small and finite and limited. And that's a good thing. That's good for us because when we're next to the mountains and the lakes and the rivers and the ocean, we feel small. We get to breathe deeper. We walk slower. We get to look further. We focus again. That is so different than everything else. See, when we are in the woods, in the natural world, according to Thoreau, we get to realize that we are creative beings in such a bigger universe than us. And that helps our souls rest. Now, for us to do this, this is not something that we can just quickly do, We can't just say, I'm sure I'll cut off screen time a little bit. No, we have to work at something. See, we never drift toward anything worth doing. We don't drift toward fitness. We don't drift toward education goals. We don't drift toward discipline. We don't drift toward holiness, if that's important. We slide and slouch toward laziness. So let's come up with these small moves that we can get back our families, back our attention, back our life, back our humanity. Small moves. Here's a couple. Number one, small move you can make today. Get the alarm clock, a real alarm clock in your bedroom. In fact, take all screens out of your bedroom. Just have a real old-fashioned alarm clock. See, what happens, your iPhone isn't just the alarm clock. As soon as you reach over and shut the alarm off, you now are looking at work messages, social media. Then now you're looking at the news. Now you're infuriated. You're already somewhere else and your feet haven't even hit the floor yet. You're in the digital nowhere. An alarm clock. How about this? Number two, family dinners. Family dinners without screens. And maybe you don't do family dinners. Put that in the rhythm of your life because that right there is the most important aspect of who we are as humans. And then the third one would be this, and that is put your phone to bed an hour before you go to bed and let it sleep in an hour after you get up. Just let's do this for a second. Let's do this. Let's have a time, an hour in the morning where we get to read or journal or meditate or pray or just sit with a cup of coffee looking at a tree. Let's do this. Because we need to fight the fog that the digital nowhere is coming for us. And it's not getting any better for us as adults, and it's certainly not getting better for our children. Annie Dillard, another Thoreau fan, says, how we live our days is, of course, how we live our life. How are you living your days? I want to live my days, and I know you do too. We want to find ways to escape the digital nowhere and embrace the joy and the freedom that living deliberately offers. Thank you.